Hey everybody, Coach Kirsten here, and I wanted to share what I have learned from wearing my Whoop. That's this little heart rate thing for 3 months. So I got it 3 months ago, and I was mostly curious just about health data, health span, my strain, my recovery, stuff like that. And I heard an interview with the guy who designed Whoop, and it sounded really interesting. And so I just decided to go for it 3 months ago. And I didn't really know anything about it, and I didn't really know. I didn't really have anything specific that I was curious about. I was open to just learning about whatever the information, whatever the data was showing me. So I've learned a lot in the last 3 months, and I wanted to share it because I think it's really valuable. I now, and I know people say this about wearables, but now that I've been wearing it, I can't imagine not wearing it because I've already learned so much in 3 months that I can't even imagine what I'm going to be learning at the 1 year mark and beyond. So the first thing that really surprised me was my sleep. And I've always been like, oh, I need so much sleep. I need so much sleep. And while people are like, oh, I'm fine with 6 hours of sleep, or like, wow, I slept so much. I slept 7.5 hours. I'm over here like 9 hours and I still feel a little bit tired. And so I was kind of curious about sleep. So the Whoop measures like every time you wake up, how much time you spend in REM sleep, in deep sleep, in light sleep, and then how much time awake. And then it calculates the deep sleep and REM sleep together are your restorative sleep. And then the light sleep is added to that for your overall sleep time. So it takes out all the times that your body wakes up. And it's really interesting because I started noticing that if I slept for 9 hours, my sleep time is usually like 7.5. So it only gives me credit for like 7.5 hours of sleep. So all these times that I'm like, I slept 9 hours. Why do I still feel like I need more sleep? Really, I only slept 7.5 hours. It was just 9 hours had passed by, but I didn't take into account all the waking times. So that was really interesting to me. And it just kind of made sense why I always felt like I needed more sleep than the average person. And it's because a lot of my sleep time is there's a lot of wake times. And when they take that out, then my sleep time looks like 7.5 hours, 7 hours and 45 minutes when I'm literally in bed for like 9 or 9.5 hours. So that was just, it was interesting. And it kind of, I was like, that makes sense why I need more sleep because I wasn't sleeping the whole time. So I'm not changing anything. I still try to be in bed as much as possible, but that I just thought that was really interesting. The other interesting thing about sleep is you get a sleep score, and no matter how much sleep I was getting, my sleep score wasn't high. I'm aiming for those optimal sleep scores. I'm an overachiever because my sleep consistency is pretty off. Sorry, I have a dog over here. There we go. So that it takes into account your sleep stress, which I rarely have any sleep stress, which is nice. So that's always in the green. My sleep hours are typically in the green. My sleep consistency, so going to bed and waking up at the same time, night after night after night, is completely not what I do. I have my daughter half the week, and then I don't have her for a couple days, but one day a week I work at 5:30 in the morning, and one day a week I work until 8:30 at night. And then when I don't have my daughter on the weekends, I sometimes stay up too late watching a movie or doing something. And then when I do have her, I make sure we're in bed and asleep at a decent hour. So my wake and sleep times are all over the place. So that keeps my consistency at a really low score, which lowers my whole sleep score. So I knew from learning about good sleep hygiene that sleep consistency is important, but I kind of didn't. Now that I see it affecting my sleep my overall sleep score that I want to be high, like A plus plus, it definitely makes me a little more attentive to how important it is to get to bed and wake up at the same time, no matter what's going on in your life. And there are some exceptions, like the day I work at the day I work at 5:30 in the morning, I have to wake up at 4:30. So, and I'm not going to wake up on 4:30 every day because I don't have time to go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. So that's just one day a week though. So I'm working on that, but that was really, this whole sleep thing was really, really interesting and insightful to learn about. So the next thing that I was really surprised about was the strain. So the Whoop measures strain throughout the day. And I feel like I'm always really tired, even on the days that I don't do really anything. So like on Wednesdays, I don't feel like I do a lot because I don't do any hard workouts. I teach a class in the morning. Before a class, if I have time, I'll sit on the bike at like level nothing, like level 0, and spin my legs just because it feels good. And then I'll like check my emails and messages and check in with my clients and stuff like that. And then I teach a class. And then like yesterday, for example, was Wednesday, and I had a meeting with one of the gyms I work at for my annual review. And then I coached masters. And then I was going to swim in the afternoon because I usually do swim on Wednesdays, but I wasn't up for it. So I ended up swimming like 500, which if you're a swimmer, that's like not even your warm up. And then I got out and I did my quick cold plunge. And then I went on with my day, which was walk the dogs, got some stuff done around the house, and then I coach in the evenings. And so Wednesday, before I had a device that measured my strain, I would have said Wednesdays were like a rest day. Like Wednesdays, I feel like I don't do anything. And then if I woke up Thursday and I was tired, I was like, why? I didn't do anything yesterday. But now that I have a device that measures strain, I end up on Wednesdays with about 25,000 to 30,000 steps because I coach a lot. I'm walking around a lot. I teach a class. I'm walking the dogs. And so that that ups my strain score. My class I teach is like a little bit of strain. When I swim, it's a little bit of strain. And by the end of the day, they're like, oh, you worked hard today. You hit your high strain level, whatever the strenuous strain level. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything. So I think what it showed me is that my lifestyle is a little more strenuous than I had thought. So like on the days I work out, like if I'm doing like a 90-minute bike ride or a 90-minute run or an hour-long swim, I would expect my strain score to be higher. But on the days where I'm just teaching classes or working with clients or coaching or doing private swim lessons where I'm just walking and moving a lot, I guess I never considered that being strenuous. And so now that I can see my overall strain score, I'm like, oh, that's why I need to do more specific recovery things to recover from those high strain days, which is every single day. So all of my days, even though I would say three out of 7 days for me are low strenuous, like almost recovery days for me. But my Whoop says differently, and it says they're strenuous and I need to recover from them. So that it just is a little insightful, and it explains why I'll wake up one day after not really doing that much and I'm still feeling like exhausted, physically exhausted. So that was really interesting because it has optimal strain, and you have to wear it for at least a month for it to get to know you. And so my optimal strain is a 10 to 14, and then strenuous is 14 and higher. And I usually it'll be like by noon, it's like, you've reached your optimal strain. And I'm like, oh, I still have a lot to do today. So it ends up by the end of the night is always in the strenuous. And so it just reminds me I need to do more, take care of myself better to recover better. And you can keep track, you journal, you could pick what you want to journal, but it could be food, supplements, rest, recovery tools, stuff like that. And I've noticed, and I didn't notice, my Whoop told me it noticed that if I'm dehydrated, I don't recover at all. So on the days that I don't drink like over what I think I need for water, then the next day I'm always, always low on the recovery. So dehydration, if I eat too close to bedtime, I don't recover as well and I don't sleep as well. So I have to, which I'm not that great at, but working on it, eat a little further away from bedtime. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you can keep track of that over time, it'll tell you if it affects you positively or negatively for your recovery. Because Whoop basically measures strain and recovery. Those are the two main things. So the other thing I've noticed about recovery is I always was like, oh, if I sleep enough, I'm recovered. And if I don't sleep enough, I'm not. And there's days where I've slept 9 hours and I wake up and I'm still not recovered. So then I have to look, oh, what else is going on in my day to day and in my health. So like if I'm not eating as many fruits and vegetables, if I'm not consistently taking my supplements, things like that, or if I have high daily stress, because it measures your stress. So throughout the day, typically my stress is really low unless I'm training, then my stress is high, which is normal. But typically during the day, I don't have high stress. But on the days I'm not recovering, if I look back, there were times in the day of high stress. So then I can look at what activities am I doing that are causing me this stress other than working out, because that's a good stress. Stress isn't always bad. So that was something else that I kind of started taking notice of. It's not stuff that I never thought about, and it's not stuff I didn't know about. But I can see how more directly it's helping my recovery. Racing was a huge one too, because a lot of times when lately, like the last 10 years, when I've been doing harder races, longer races, I can't race at the level that I want to. And so I've done several races since wearing the Whoop, and I've noticed that 95% of my race time is in my zone 4 heart rate, my heart rate zone 4. When I look at my training, even when I think I'm working hard, it's still zone like 2 and 3, even when I think I'm working hard. So I'm training my body primarily zone 2 and 3. And then when I go to race, I'm expecting my body to race for 5 hours in zone 4. And so, of course, it makes sense that my body can't race 5 hours at zone 4 when I'm training 5 hours at zone 2 and 3, and hardly any training zone 4. So it's kind of, it's just, again, it's more of, this is what I'm discovering. So if I want to, so now when I'm planning for my races next year, I'm going to purposefully, and again, if I go by how I feel a lot, and I still race and train mostly how I feel, because this doesn't show me any data in the moment. I could look at my heart rate if I open my phone, but it collects the data that I can look at afterwards. And so I still want to race and train a lot by feel, but it's just a reminder that if I want to race harder, I need to train harder. And so I am going to do a few more training races, because I used to do that all the time. And then I got away from it in the past few years because I had my daughter 7 years ago. Before that, I was pregnant. So for about 8 years, since 2017 was like my last really hard training racing year. I've been racing a lot less because I have more responsibilities. My money has to go toward other things. So I haven't been racing as much, and I haven't made it a priority. But if I want to do well at these A races, I want to get that harder training in. So again, just something that I'm looking at when I am planning my overall year next year, because I discovered it this year. And again, it makes sense. It's probably something I knew, because if somebody asked me if I train hard, I would say no. I don't train hard at all. And then I go and try to race as hard as I can. And then my body's like, what the heck are you doing? So that was something else I noticed. And then I think the other thing that I thought was really interesting. So I've gotten sick one time, or like really sick, like flu-ish, whatever, while I was wearing the Whoop. And I started feeling kind of like my throat started hurting, and I was just kind of feeling kind of like tired, really tired. And the next morning I woke up and all 5 of the health markers that Whoop measures were all completely off. So normally they're green. If they're all healthy and you're right in within range, it's green. It'll be like 5 out of 5 markers are green. If it's yellow, it's kind of a little off. If it's red, it's like way off. Something's going on with you. So I woke up the next morning, none were green. I think 3 were yellow and 2 were red. But I wasn't like full blown sick. I just wasn't feeling like I went to go do the step mill, and I was going to do I was actually going to do 2 hours, and I started doing it, and I was like, 10 minutes in, I was like, wow, I'm really tired. I don't feel like, and I was like, okay, I'll just do an hour on the step mill and then I'll walk on the treadmill for an hour. And I got an hour done, done on the step mill, and I could barely like finish it on a low level. And I just went home. And then that night, all my markers were either yellow or red. And the next morning I woke up full blown flu, achy body, fever, everything. And it was really interesting because my sleep that night, usually it's 100% low stress. Every once in a while, it's like 1% medium stress and 99% low stress. That one day, and I can look back at all my data, and one day it was half, it was 50% high stress. So it was red, and then like 30% medium stress and only 20% low stress. And that was a night I couldn't sleep because I was coughing, I was achy, I was moving around, I was like so uncomfortable that I like in half the time I was sleeping, so I didn't realize this. I was tossing and turning. So like that night it was like no REM sleep, 5% deep sleep, and then it was all like awake and just like mostly being awake. So it was really high stress. So it was really interesting that you can see through the data if something is if your body is like fighting something and you're about to get full blown sick, or like the day after my marathon it's different than being sick, but a couple of my markers were were off, not low, because some of them want like resting heart rate, you want it to be low. It was higher. So a couple of my markers were off. And then the next day, my recovery was at like 29%. And it was understandable. I ran a marathon. And then right after I flew home 4 hours on a flight, got home late, it was a long day of marathon plus travel. I think my steps that day were like 50,000 or something crazy. So of course the next day, my recovery was really low. But other than these extreme things, my recovery fluctuates depending on my strain the day before and how well I'm taking care of myself. But when I was sick, it didn't matter what I did. I was like drinking so much water, and I was taking like a bunch of all the natural things they say to take, all the zinc and all the whatever else. I don't remember. I was kind of out of it. I was laying in bed the whole day, like watching stupid TV shows, trying to get better. And still the next day, it was like 0 recovery. And I was like, what? I did all the recovery things, but it was my body fighting this, whatever I had, some flu. So, so again, I didn't change anything because of the data. It was just really interesting to me how it showed me the day before, your numbers are off, something's going down. And then the next day I was full blown sick. So now I can look for that. If it's not something I did like the marathon / travel, if it's just a normal day and all of a sudden I see my markers are off, I don't know if there's anything I could do. I have the things where, take this early and cut your cold time in half. I could start taking that stuff and maybe a sleep aid and maybe try to sleep more, drink more water or whatever. But again, it's just been very interesting to me and educational. And I think it's a great asset. So I'm really, really happy that I decided to try it. I'm going to definitely renew it you can pay like a monthly membership or pay for a whole year or 6 months or something. And I paid for a year. I was committed to the year, and already after 3 months, they also have a free 30-day trial. So you could try it for 30 days and see if you think it's valuable. but I'll definitely pay for the whole, I'll keep paying for the annual because they have a Black Friday sale. So I'm going to definitely do that. So anyway, I just wanted to share because I think it's really valuable. I also have a referral code. So if you want to try it, you could do the month free. I'll link up the referral code. So if you do decide to do it and you do pay for a membership, then I think we each get a free month, I think is what it is. So if you guys do that and you like it, you get a free month, I get a free month. It's a win-win. And you can make like little groups. So let me know. We can make a little group. We could do like challenges, like let's try to get 20,000 steps in each day, or let's try to get 1 day a week, 5 minutes in heart rate zone 5, because that's really, as we get older, we need to be pushing ourselves a little bit more, but not all the time. So like, 5 minutes a week in heart rate zone 5 is awesome. Or, an hour a week in heart rate zone 4 is really awesome. So we can do little challenges. We can form little groups. It could be so fun. So let me know if you guys want to do that. And I'm totally in for that. I love accountability. I love supporting people. I love helping us all just live healthy, fulfilling, long, happy lives. So anyway, just wanted to share. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the product. If you sign up for the membership, you get the band and the Whoop stuff. It's free unless you want a fancy band. I don't. I have the free black band. But they have all sorts of like, I don't know, designer bands that you could buy. I also did buy the sports bra because I wanted to keep it on when I do jujitsu, because I'm really curious about that, because I feel like it's the hardest thing I've ever done. But when I look at my data, it's like, that was nothing for you. Like it has me doing like a higher strain in a 15-minute swim than a whole hour of jujitsu, which is interesting because I feel like swimming is so easy and jujitsu is so hard. But anyway, again, something else that's very interesting. So they have a sports bra that you could put the little sensor in the sports bra so it's not around your wrist, because we're grabbing each other's wrists and it would just fall off anyway. So they have other things. They have like undies. They have other places you can wear it if you don't want something on your wrist or it's not convenient on your wrist. So you can get stuff like that too. So anyway, I just wanted to share because I think it's really cool. And if you want to join me on the Whoop adventure, let me know. I'll give you guys my referral link. And if you want to use that, awesome. You can share it with your friends. And we can all get healthy, happy, and fit together. All right, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.